I am making this clip to discuss about challenges in running schools and colleges. Lots of educators and charitable societies or trusts open schools and college to impart quality education and develop their area with greater options to the youth. Accordingly, every possible efforts are made in terms of infrastructure, teaching and support staff, and lots of edtech material. There are lots of hopes and a picture in their minds as to how the journey of a child should happen in academics, like all above 60% and as many as possible 100%, or sports representing state or the national level, or all round development from the time of admission to the 10th or 12th, as the case may be, and expect institution to be self reliant and cater for its own growth. But still, after Herculean efforts, results are not as desired. Often students having studied for a long time are also found short of expected results due to various challenges. So the feeling slowly setting in is we are doing everything and still no results. Financially also it becomes unviable to maintain the institute and provide desired quality. Probably this situation requires a different. While we appreciate the efforts already made, we would like to take an innovative method to establish system of the best practices customized to the institution. This would involve assessing the existing factors of the institution, carry out reality checks, especially of the students, understand the challenges, and evolve a scientific method to establish systems and best practices to deal with the challenges, which includes training the local team and support as required, and finally achieve the desired results. With this overview, I am making an abridged version covering all aspects in this video. For detailed descriptions, you are requested to see the videos made in parts as shown on the view file. An important issue is the challenges faced by the management. A good school is grown by the management who have to act as a driving force, either themselves or a nominated team. As the time goes by, their energy and enthusiasm comes down. Why? Let's understand. Request you to draw attention to this chart. In the initial years, there are very few classes, rooms, limited numbers, and so is the responsibility. But as they grow big, everything increases. The students, teachers, support staff, buses and drivers, etc., and the overall responsibility. Like for example, if they're interacting with few parents initially, now they have to interact with many parents. If they're handling 2 crores, now they may have to handle about 20 crores. Whereas the responsibility of the others does not change. Example, a teacher who is handling 2 sections or say 30 classes in a week is doing the same thing. A watchman working for 8 hours in a day for one gate, he is doing the same thing. So over a period of time, only management responsibility increases manifold and not of others. And the other factors which may catch up are the age may catch up, there is no next generation support, other commitments of the society members may be there, there is a limited understanding of all educational administrative aspects with the management members, and overall they cannot devote the required amount of time and energy the way they would have devoted for the achieving the desired results of the quality of the institution. We have discussed the management challenge in the previous slide. There are lots of other challenges which I have put it in the 3 categories. For details, you have to see the video part 3. There are some challenges which are compulsions like location dynamics. There is no choice with us. Students and parents who are locally available, there is no choice, and the time available, which obviously stops for now. Whereas at some places we have some kind of independence available with us, like the syllabus, little bit it can be modified, especially in the lower classes. Study material, since there is huge amount available, we can choose whatever we want. Teachers, we have an option depending on the pay package, etc., which we give, and the local availability. And there are some things which are totally malleable, like the planning of the curriculum, that we can do it to suit our culture. Exams and results, how strict we conduct or how easily we conduct, and do we allow some kind of doctoral results that can be seen. And similarly, establishment of a school oblique study culture is definitely within our hands. Till now, we have reviewed the challenges faced by the people running the institution with special reference to challenges of the founders. Now, to understand the concept, let us take an analogy of maintaining a healthy body versus the growth of a student in the institution. Now, for healthy body, we have healthy food ingredients in the market, gym, sports facilities, and nutritionists. Similarly, for studies, we have books, notebooks, edtech material, lots of it, and we have learned teachers and tutors. Still, we have lots of challenges. What these challenges could be: first is the confusion of what to eat because there is so much available. Similarly, what to study because there is so much available. Mismatch: all food is not, although good, may not be suitable for everyone at home. Similarly, all material may not be good for all the students, be it the intelligent ones may require different, slow learners different, metro different, rural different. Similarly, there is a chance of overeating in health and heavy syllabus of like overstudying in studies, digestion issues for health, lack of self-study or the group study culture in studies, clarity of interim and final goals both in health as well as studies, and lack of consistent efforts in both may lead to lack of achieving health goals, leading to stress in terms of health, and energy drained out of like a dull feeling or exam stress in terms of the studies. To address these challenges, we have innovative approach with the same analogy. Here, the aspect and the health has been mentioned, which is self-explanatory. I will be covering the studies part, which requires a school-reviewed study material suitable for all, a well-structured school curriculum, and trained teachers, along with a good time management, combined with consistent efforts, will definitely give the desired results. Sports and activity for the overall development, the study methods and the culture should be such that it should have a stress-free environment for studying. There should be pragmatic targets, avoid over expectations, and aim is to build confidence among the students. And finally, a close and consistent monitoring through the tests, feedbacks, achieving of the interim targets is very essential for the overall progress. The innovative approach adopted includes various steps. It starts with setting up the aim, goals, and targets, which should be ambitious but pragmatic. Then the sequence of events should be well planned prior to the start of the academic year for the entire year. This is the core of our solution, the customized system and the best practices, which we'll be dwelling in detail later. Then there has to be a conducive academic culture and a positive vibe should be created along with stress-free environment for the learning. Healthy sports and co-curricular activities is essential for the overall development. We should have smart, achievable goals, and we should be able to review and refine it based on the internal audit of the reality checks which we carry out in academics or administration or finance, so that we are able to know the actual progress and take necessary measures so as to achieve the final target. Till now, we have discussed the challenges and the concept of the solution. How do we go about it? Which revolves around establishing the customized system and best practices. When we consider it from the investment point of view, is it financially viable? Let's examine this. When we consider investment, then capital investment is done willingly, which includes the infrastructure and furniture which is visible. Operational costs are accepted, like salary, maintenance costs. But however, there is a doubt or no clarity with respect to investment, best practices, or the talent. Where does the quality comes from? Comes from infrastructure, facilities, team, but there are challenges and there is a system. If we have the best of the team and the infrastructure, if we add it with the best system or the best practices, then we get the best results. But if the same good team and infrastructure, but there is no system or the best practices, then there will be only internal chaos and the results will go for a six. So the best team is important, but is it feasible? Because there are location dynamics, there is permanency issues, and a very high recurring cost. So what is the solution? Solution is infrastructure, existing system, plus we put the best system and the best practices so that we assure desired results. So the critical is the system and the best practices customized to enable your own best team in the long run. How much value does a customized system or best practices contribute? Is the investment on this customized system or best practices worth it? Like for infrastructure, you're ready to construct 30 rooms, 40 rooms, but when it comes to the best practices, You think about investing just a cost of about 2 or 3 rooms also. But what about the returns? Let's examine that. You can put a value to the losses if books are not distributed and spoiled, or grocery expired, or items lost, or money is lost. You can value benefits also if something is used very fruitfully. But how do you value or quantify the loss if a student misses a period, a section wastes a period? There's an impromptu planning of the students' commitments. Functional issues crop up where trustees' time and effort is wasted. We don't value the loss since it's not visible immediately and it cannot be quantified. And it's visible in the wrong run because the results will ultimately show up, which will be adversely affected. So there is an effort to put a value for this. I have taken example of a school with around 800 strength. The fees of junior class is 35,000, fees of senior class is 70,000. Approximately 220 working days are there in a year, which amounts to around 1800 teaching periods. So if you extrapolate it, then cost per student per day would be approximately 150 rupees, per period would be 20 rupees, and senior double. I have added this 100% loss due to cumulative effect because any one period missed will require 2 to 3 periods to cover up. So similarly, cost per section of 40 would be per day would be almost 24,000 rupees, and per period would be 3,200. And if you ask for the school, then it would be staggering 3.5 lakh rupees per day if we don't plan it. So cost of frequent disruptions due to absence of system or best practices is huge. Although it cannot be avoided completely, but even if we're able to reduce it by about 70%, then we can easily absorb the 30% without adversely affecting the quality of the institution. Now coming on to the long-term effect. Suppose if the institution has aimed the results in 10th or 12th board as shown on the V file, that there will be two of 100% and then accordingly this thing. But however, due to the lack of systematic best practices, in spite of all efforts, the result achieved would be generally be this much. This is where 100% there is none, but you have some in above 90% and accordingly what is shown. So what will be the loss if you can quantify it? The loss of results will almost be 10% of your revenue. Similarly, there is a reputational costs, and then it adversely affects the future admissions and fee revisions. Then there will be a few withdrawals, and there will be lots of efforts by the management in order to rectify these things. And also, you'll have to spend more on campaigning so that you don't reduce admissions. The cumulative loss will be almost 30% of the revenue. So it will be approximately 3 crore for a 10 crore revenue. So if system and best practices are added, instead of loss, the benefits would accrue and total difference would may increase rather than this 30% minus, we can add another 10% and would be the 40% of the revenue. So it means that what is evident is that the investment in the system or the best practices would give you many fold returns both in the long run as well as in the short run. Till now, we have seen the challenges of education institutes, the solutions, and the core of which is establishment of a customized system and best practices for that education institute. And that is what we offer in our consultancy. The details of the consultancy will be covered in the next few minutes, which will include the models offered, the details of the support, as well as the team which is there. The consultancy will be in three models. The first would be the full support. The scope will encompass everything as listed. Monitoring will be on daily basis, and reports will be weekly, monthly, or quarterly as per the list. The part or the partial support will be restricted scope, monitoring daily with a limited scope, and reports as required on monthly or quarterly basis. Minimum support are independent capsules where the scope will be as per the requisition and the monitoring of the reports will be as per the requirement. The sequence for full oblique partial support would be that in stage one, we will take all the required inputs in first visit and then present a proposal with cost implications during our second visit. Now, based on the decision taken, a MOU will be prepared as per the services sought. A team of in-location will be built up, and then the communication aspects will be coordinated for providing seamless service. And finally, the execution, that is to build the customized systems and best practices within the institution on-the-job training of institution's team, and finally fulfill all obligations as per the MOU. What would the full support mean? The full support has been prepared under 27 major heads, which is shown here. Few of the examples like macro issues, campaign planning, time planning, weekly subject planning, total load planning, syllabus planning, timetable planning, etc. And each one will have lots of subheadings, which are as shown here. Like macro planning will have so many subheadings. So total of almost more than 150 subheading or sub actions will be there to cater for these 27 major heads. The 27 heads has been listed out in this and the next slide to give you an idea of what it involves, right from planning of the macro issues to how to prepare for the exams or the answering technique or the implementation of the micro schedule. Accordingly, there are a number of issues which are being addressed, continuing the same, and finally ending with the accounting and preparation of the audit documents, which again has got many actions for the sub actions which we have to prepare to deliver the services. The obligations and responsibility would be the Nivens will deliver the professional services as per agreed scope, maintain confidentiality of the school data or the institution's data and the students' information, provide periodic progress reports and reviews. The school or the institute on its behalf facilitate access to relevant staff, resources, and data for effective service delivery, ensure timely communications, and make payments as per the agreed financial terms. The frequency of the output monitoring or the capsules will be as per the MOU. What would be the recommendations of the consultancy and the team? First, we'll look at the team. The consultancy team will have a director or advisor who carries out the feasibility study, prepares support plan, and head the team of coordinators and fulfill all obligations as per MOU. In location coordinators will be there, two for the full support and one for partial support, nominated by customer or else advisor if requested. Function under the advisor as per the scope and provide all inputs and coordinate the advisor's visits in location. There will be events coordinators nominated by the advisor, which will coordinate all the outputs as per the MOU. The recommendations for the consultancy would be initially for 1 or 2 years, a full support is recommended. It is akin to constructing a new building, and then partial support for another 1 or 2 years, akin to giving finishing touches. And finally, there will be minimum support or independent capsules as required, akin to maintenance, which can be done either by the Nivens team or the own team. The details of the advisor and the visits of the advisor, generally 4 in case of full support and 2 in case of partial support, is given. Till now, we have seen the overview of running of an education institute with the challenges with the management and other challenges faced by the educational institutes. The concept of the solution which is offered and the financial benefits, which is almost to the tune of 30 to 40% of the revenue in the long run. And finally, the scope of the consultancy. Finally, to conclude, consultancy, the aim is to make a formidable brand matched by the quality, which should be have a long-term vision as well as verifiable short-term goals. Invest experience, knowledge, efforts with utmost dedication by a team which is spread across India for result-oriented goals. Create a self-sustaining ecosystem capable to cater for future requirements, public growth, both in terms of the systems, best practices, and the finance. Reduce the work burden of the management, which is very important as almost all the members will be busy with something else more useful or their own businesses. Finally, make quality improvement and the corresponding financial benefits in such effect that make returns manifold vis-a-vis the investment in the consultancy, or effectively the investment in the consultancy will be free of cost due to the high returns which will be accrued due to this. For details of the consultancy, please contact as per the next slide which is there.